Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought we'd try something a little bit different. As a writer, I've tried various things to help get me into the practice of writing and things like that. And for a while I was writing on the fanfiction website, fanfiction.net, under the name of Author Swimmer Poet. I haven't really been super active on it lately, but you're welcome to go read the stories that are there if you'd like. But because of those stories, I was like, you know what might be kind of fun to do is to try reading through some of those. And then we can compare my actual writing, such as what I do in my Coleslaw series, to some of my fan fiction writing, and see if there's the same sort of quality or if I do better because the fan fiction is pre-existing characters, and maybe look for ways that I can work on improving my characters in my own stuff so that they read more like the fan fiction where I know the characters really well. So to start off, I figured I'd go with one of my one-shot pieces that's on there, but I have several that are more like chapter length type things and have multiple chapters going on and all that. So I'll start with this one piece, or this one-shot piece, maybe collect all the one-shots that I read out into one playlist, and then if I do ones that are like chapter stories, I'll collect each of them into their own playlist, because I'll probably do like 1 or 2 chapters at a time kind of a thing. And then we'll have that going for us. So here's my first story. It's called Truthteller, and it's based in the world of His Dark Materials, which, if you're unfamiliar with that trilogy, would be The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass, and I highly recommend that series. It's written by Philip Pullman, if you want to look it up. Alright, so let's get into Truthteller. Jamie sat on a bench and sighed as she looked around. It had just been a year, and everything had changed so much, but still looked so much the same. The flowers still bloomed, showing off bright spring colors. Fountains ran with seemingly infinite sprays of water. Birds whistled and sang in the trees. The people had changed, 1 year older, perhaps wiser. The little ones had begun to sprout like weeds. New smaller children had filled up their old places. It was amazing to see how much changing sameness a single park could contain. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, lifting her face to the sun. It was a wonderful day to bask in the sunlight, to pretend she was a lizard relying on its warmth to heat her blood. She wished she could become as carefree as a lizard, for all her troubles and worries to drop away, melting like a piece of ice in the sunlight. Maybe she'd lose her hopes and dreams as well, but sometimes the weight of her stresses felt worth giving up all the good emotions people experience too. Desiree pressed her nose quietly to Jamie's cheek, acknowledging her quiet loneliness with a scaly touch. "Excuse me," a voice broke in gently. Jamie blinked and looked over to see a young woman smiling nervously at her. "Yes?" she asked, a polite, hopefully disarming smile on her face. "I know this may be a little strange to ask, with so many empty benches around the park, but may I sit by you?" Jamie nodded. It did seem a little odd, but so long as the girl wasn't obtrusive, it didn't seem like a big deal. "Thank you so much," the girl gushed softly. She swiped the bench seat with an arm, as if knocking away invisible leaves, and sat next to Jamie. She stared at the sky for a long time before continuing. "This bench is very special to me. I promised someone I'd come here every year. We said we'd sit together here, just for a few minutes, once a year." She smiled sadly. It was the only way we could stay close. Jamie wondered why the girl was alone, apart from the small ermine demon curled around her neck, of course. She didn't want to pry, but it seemed there wasn't much that could keep someone from that sort of promise, short of death or sickness. She didn't feel it appropriate to ask, however. That would not be kind to dredge up whatever sadness this girl had to live with. Jamie knew what it was like for people to badger you about sad things that you'd rather just stayed hidden away on some dark shelf in the closet of your mind. "If it's not prying to ask, who did you make the promise with?" "A boy," the girl answered, the sad smile on her face widening just a tad. She looked down at her hands, fiddling a little anxiously, almost consciously. After she'd been fiddling for a few moments, her hand went to her pocket and pulled out a small wrapped case. Jamie gasped softly. It was wrapped in what looked to be velvet. It was beautiful, and even with whatever precious cargo it carried tucked away in the folds of velvet, she was sure it must be valuable and expensive along with that beauty. The girl glanced at her and smiled mischievously. "You want to see my trinket?" "Lyra," her Ermin hissed. "Oh, hush, Pan. She's not magisterium." Jamie shared a quick glance with Jezri. What in the world were these two talking about? "Lyra," the Ermin repeated warningly. "It'll be fine, Pan. You worry too much." Still with that same monkey grin, the girl began to unwrap the object. Jamie pressed her hands on top of the girl's. "Please, you don't have to," she blushed. "I wouldn't want to interfere, especially with something valuable. You're too kind, miss. Not curious enough." Jamie raised an eyebrow. Lyra chuckled. "Really, if I were you, I'd be about dying to see what I got all wrapped up." She leaned forward as if they were conspiring on some dastardly plot. "It's okay to indulge in curiosity sometimes, no matter what the magisterium says about it. They're just trying to keep people from learning, so they're easier to control anyways. That's why they were cutting all those children years ago. They were scared of the people making choices the church didn't approve of. They thought dust was bad, but really it's good." Lyra leaned even closer. "'Cause as I've studied it, I've learned a secret about it. It's our curiosity. Or maybe not exactly our curiosity, but it shows up when we're curious. It's attracted to the innovation a curiosity brings. That's why it's so important. That's why I had to stop it from leaking out of the world. Humans would be nothing without our curiosity." Jamie could only stare. What on earth was this girl talking about? Dust? Cutting children? Whatever do you mean? Lyra laughed while her ermine fidgeted. "I forget sometimes. Not many people know about what I did. Not many people know about what the church did. Do you remember the gobblers? Because what I'm talking about has to do with them. And that'd be a good place to start if you want to hear the story." Jamie nodded mutely. She remembered the gobblers. She remembered the rumours flying like wildfire. She remembered. Finally, she was able to force a few words out. "I don't know what they would have to do with all this, though." Lyra laughed again. "That's all right. I haven't told you the story yet." She stared at Jamie for a long moment, her eyes bright with excitement. "Now, I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to tell you a story about it. It's all true, I promise. I used to be a liar, but now the truth sounds like a lie, so I tell it to as many people as will listen. I don't like what the magisterium did, or what they're trying to do. While I learn how to get back to Will, I also got to warn people. Otherwise, the magisterium will win, no matter what I done or the warlord Azrael fought." Jamie really was speechless now. There was too much to try and process, and she hadn't even heard the story yet. Should she even believe this girl? Jezri stroked her nose softly against Jamie's neck. "Listen," she whispered. "You never know what you might learn from this sort of story." Jamie ran a finger down her lizard demon's form. Even if Jezri was only a sort of aspect of her own soul, Jamie was sure to listen when Jezri spoke. Sometimes Jezri was aware of things that Jamie simply wasn't. "Well then, show me what you've got." Lyra almost bounced in excitement. Her hands quickly whipped off the velvet wrapping. Jamie stared. It was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen, compass-sized, golden, with pretty little pictures all around the edges. Jamie had never seen anything like it before. "What is it?" she asked. "An alethiometer. I think it's the very last one. The magisterium likes destroying magnificent things. Plus it works by dust, and they're scared of dust, like I said before. Do you want to hear my story about how I got it?" Jamie nodded. She wasn't capable of forming words. She was so in awe of the object. "Here, you can even hold it, if you like, while I tell the story." Lyra placed it in Jamie's hands. "I already asked it about you, so I know you won't steal it if I let you examine it." "You asked it about me?" The words were hard to force out, as if there were a wall being erected before her mouth. Lyra nodded. "I got to check. I'm not as good as I used to be," she admitted. "But I'm getting there, and it's easy enough to ask if someone's trustworthy. I wish I'd done that before. Then we wouldn't have gotten into some of our scrapes. But I guess without them, Will would never have gotten the knife. So maybe that's just the way it needed to work out to be." "I'm sorry." Jamie handed the alethiometer back. I I want to hear your story. I really do. But only if you're going to tell it properly. If you're going to keep jumping about to different parts of the story like a frog, I'm not going to be able to keep up. Oh, right. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. Lyra traced the edge of the alethiometer with a finger. It all began in the retiring room at Jordan. And then the story fades away. A nice little ellipsis to end it off. Because if you know the series, then that's basically where the book starts. So, almost in a sense implying that Lyra's then telling the book story to this girl. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've got for that. So my first little fan fiction snippet for you guys. Tell me if you liked it, if you thought it was fun, if it seems like it reads better or worse than my other writing pieces that are in my coleslaw one. Again, I want to know comparatively because I'm working with characters that already exist when I'm writing fan fiction as compared to ones that I made myself. And I want to know if I'm doing a good job fleshing out my characters or not. But that's all I've got for now. So I will end this here, and I will see you guys again soon with either another coleslaw or some more fan fiction. So I hope you guys have a great day, and this is the Umlaut Herper signing out.